Let's go. We are here. I want to change the view. Yep, that's better. Hello, everyone. Today I have one of my favorite comedians. I love to listen to his comedy every day, every day. And with everything, you get bored. But when it comes to Noah comedy, you get more thirsty for it the more you listen to it. So thank you for being here.
Thanks so much, Muad. You're one of my favorite people I've met in comedy, without doubt.
Oh man, that means it's weird how we can build connection, and you can like some people and dislike some people, and you never meet them in person.
Yes, for sure.
It's weird that humans never experience this. We are the first humans that do.
Oh, to have this kind of like somewhat like this connection, but not a connection situation. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like I never meet you, but I love you.
Oh, thanks, Muad. I love you too. Yeah, I guess. I think it's even, I mean, I'm thankful for the whole like Zoom community is just a really great option to have. It really I lived alone during the lockdown, so it really kind of kept me sane because it wasn't working and stuff. So it was nice to be able to stay productive and do that. It was nice to meet. I met so many wonderful people.
That's cool. And even hopefully I'm looking forward to meet not everyone I meet in Zoom, but some particular people. You are one of them in person.
Sure.
I'm not sure if you want to meet me, but I will try.
No, I do. Come to Chicago.
Thank you. So what's good about Chicago? Is it cold? Rap?
It is. It's quite cold for much of the year. The summers are very nice. It's good people. I think Chicago gets a lot of bad press in America. If you don't live, it's like for violence and the weather. It's famously the politics are famously corrupt. They call it, that has the capital of corruption is its like nickname. It has a history of lots of crime. But if you just live here, it's kind of wonderful. It's like a lot of really great neighborhoods, and it's a lot of amazing culture, wonderful people. But that stuff doesn't generate as much clicks. So Chicago's mainly used. I mean, and to be fair, there's some heinous things do happen in Chicago sometimes, but it's a wonderful city. I remember I lived in Washington, D.C. before I moved here the first time. And when I came back, or when I arrived here, I noticed a different vibe in the people immediately. People were just very nice in the Midwest.
But Chicago, is it like the state or is it like the city?
Chicago is a city in the state of Illinois in America. And the rest of Illinois is pretty rural. So it's kind of a strange relationship between Chicago and the rest of the state.
You know,
because
that
it's like,
I never heard about Illinois just now.
Right. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of states. I mean, yeah, most Americans don't know territories, even in like, Canada or Mexico, but it's, one of the 50 states.
That's cool. But
out here.
Do you think that Chicago is even more famous than the state?
Yes, absolutely. I think internationally, I mean, Kanye West he didn't name his son Illinois. He named him like Chicago, right? And it's in a lot of songs, a lot of culture. Yeah, it's people don't say Illinois very often.
Wow. So people have pride to be from Chicago.
Absolutely. You see like lots of people get Chicago has a flag, like a city flag. I see lots of people have that tattoo. Chicago has a ton of pride, and I share it. I love the city. It's been good to me.
But let's say, for example, were you born in Chicago?
I'm from Southern California originally, from like at the suburbs of LA, this part of the country called the Inland Empire. It used to be this like agricultural part of the country, but now it's just like strip malls That's all it is. But it's like this working class, middle class suburbs of LA. That's where I'm from.
But when you say you are from there, is it like you were born there, or is it like
Yeah.
your parents from there?
Oh no, age 0 to 18. I lived in Southern California, so I'm from there. That's my roots. And then I've moved around a lot since then.
So, do you think that people should say where they are from based on where they were born or where their parents from?
Oh, I think if you want to give someone the context of like your history, it's where you spent the majority of your adolescence. I think like 0 to 8, like from the age 0 to 18, where were you the most? Is what I think you should say. So it's like, I'm from California. I think that's what people want to know usually.
Mm. And why do you like have pride that you are from Chicago? Is it like the history, the weed, or
Oh, it's just a nice thing to be a part of. It's good people. I I vibe well with the people here. It just feels right. I think my intuition told me I should move to a place like this.
Hmm.
And I'm someone who's suited to live in like a big city. It's like my personality, my interests kind of align with a lot of like attitudes and values in Chicago. I've had a lot of great experiences here, great memories here, and it's been good. I've made a lot of impulsive decisions in my life. Moving to Chicago was an impulsive decision, but it ended up working out.
You mean working out from the way you are feeling, you feel better.
Yeah, it feels right. I mean, I've traveled a lot now, a fair bit, and I live in it might even be my favorite city that I've traveled to, and I live here. It's nice. I wonder, the only other place I would move to is like New York or something. But if I'm just based in Chicago, that's not bad
I
for
don't
me.
know. I might even be crazy, but it's real feelings. I do feel these feelings. For example, like when I hear the word Chicago, I feel like more relaxed, you know. I don't know even how to put the right word. Or for example, Hawaii, I love, I don't, but where would I say? Like New York, I feel a little bit conscious when I hear it.
Oh, that's funny. Just kind of like the way it sounds. Um,
Just the vibes. I don't know where these feelings come from. Why do I like Hawaii more than New York?
right. Um, Maybe that's just some kind of vibe you feel. Maybe that's real. Maybe on some level you just kind of know that you would vibe better with Chicago than New York. New York's a beast. That place is not for everybody. It's an intense place. But yeah, Chicago has a lot of stuff New York has, but with like a lot more space and less people. It's more calm, I would say.
But where do you think these feelings come from?
Um, I don't know. That maybe
For
just
people,
through
for people.
cultural things you've absorbed maybe
Mm.
in your life, and maybe on some conscious level you've just like internalized something has just about Chicago and Hawaii, maybe chancing, maybe talking to a person there occasionally, something has just like seeped into your subconscious. Maybe that's a better place for me. And maybe New York on some level um didn't affect you in the same way when you heard people talk about it or saw it depicted in like a movie or something, or heard it in a song. I think a lot of people, yeah, kind of gravitate towards places that they've never been.
But so you think that our decisions and what we likes and feeling is based on what we have heard and where we have been and how we were just programmed and get absorbed information.
Yeah, I think so. I yeah, you just kind of form like an opinion of something over time, or you just maybe one day you just discover you have this big love for something. It can even be very unlikely. I remember when I lived in South Korea, I taught English over there, and I met a girl there from Chicago, and she went to like a Korean church on the South Side, and she discovered she had a real love for like Korean culture, and that's why she moved to South Korea. So I think it can be very like unlikely and surprising, but it's just like these like chance encounters, or oh, you read a book, you see a movie, and you just kind of like, I would love to move there. It might not even make much sense. Like it might not even be very logical. You know, someone might just like this way. I dated a girl who loved the way Morocco sounded, and she just had a strong feeling that she would like to go there one day based on whatever romantic images. She probably didn't know a ton about Morocco's history or anything or their cuisine, but I think it was like you hearing like Hawaii. It was just like, I would love to go to Morocco one day, just something about it.
That's interesting. So do you think we know ourselves, like who we are?
I think yes, right? If you really try to be like honest with yourself and self-aware, and always kind of like interrogate your beliefs and just try to be really honest with yourself. And then I think sometimes you think you know yourself, and then you try something and you're like, oh, that's not for me. And I think you kind of develop an intuition over time, and you know yourself better when you take risks, or you try new things, or you put yourself in like new situations that help you grow, difficult situations. And then you'll know yourself. I think it's like knowing yourself is like something you have to put a lot of work into. Like you don't just sit there and know yourself. You have to put yourself in lots of different situations to acquire all that self-knowledge.
So what you are trying to say is that you put yourself in, let's say, uncomfortable situations, and you see how you will react to it, and you react to it based on how you feel, and that's how you know who you are.
Right. Yeah, and you're always, yeah, it never stops. It's like just educating yourself. Like you can think you know yourself when you just live like say you just go to work and go home. Of course you know yourself, but like you don't know how you're going to handle being at a big party in Hawaii or something. You don't know how you would handle doing stand up, or you don't like, maybe you would be quite good at one of these things, or maybe it would be extremely difficult for you, and you don't know that until you're in that situation. And it can be, you might think of yourself and like, oh, I would totally excel at that if I ever did it, and maybe you're quite bad. Or maybe you think you would be very bad at something and you'd have a talent for it, but you would never know until you put yourself in crazy situations. So yeah, I think that is how you truly know yourself, is to just like take lots of risks.
And you said also like it's hard. So what you mean by it's hard? It's like to be good and to do the right decisions. Is that what you mean?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think it's also yeah, if you want like know you how moral you are and how good you are, I think, yeah, I think that's part of it too. You just always try to do good, be a good person.
And that's hard.
Yeah, I think so. I think yeah, you always want to just I have the self-awareness too, and make sure you're just constantly ask yourself if you're doing the right thing, and if you're doing things for the right reasons. And yeah, I think that's something you have to put work in too as well. I mean, like, I'm a good person, but like you can always do better. Maybe you can like dislike someone for a stupid reason or something, and it's or you can, there's always ways to improve on being a good person.
But like, is it hard to fight with ourselves to be good person? Like, do we have demons inside us, or is it just some chemicals?
Um, I maybe for some people, I think being a good person involves kind of what I was like talking about before, just kind of that pursuit of like self-knowledge, and then through that, through like evolving, then you'll be happier, and then you'll be more likely to be a good influence on someone else, for sure. I think you can be a good person in that you're not like a nasty person, you know, or like you don't steal or kill people. I mean, obviously that's a better, you're a good person, but you can also be a good person through just being this like kind of positive force, and just being interesting. And through that, you'll be have more power to influence others around you in a positive way.
Okay, I agree with you, and you know that many people they don't achieve this. Like they cannot just be good people. So do you? Because usually the solution for bad people is to throw them in the jail. But now, like in the future, jail should not be the solution. Uh, Maybe the AI machine can just fix the human brain, can delete some memories, put some other memories, because maybe you cannot be good because you are traumatized or because you had some bad memory. So now we will have machine, we will have technology that will go in and fix these damages, because it's proven that jail and prisons are making people even worse. What's your thought about that?
Oh, I think it's very flawed, for sure. Like I mean, I have a good friend who's like a public defender, who's someone who represents people who've like committed crimes and stuff, and when they can't afford a lawyer.
Mhm.
And it's just people with like most of these people are people, I mean, they have very poor like impulse control. A lot of people come from like traumatic environments, and not to like take things away from like personal responsibility, like you shouldn't kill people, you shouldn't do, but like a lot of these people have just committed like petty crimes and stuff too. And I think this it's just it's the system clearly isn't like working. I think it's meant to like rehabilitate you or like change you in a way that will make you better for society, but people go in these places and they come out worse because it's a horrible environment. It's not a yeah, a lot of these people don't get better and they commit crimes as soon as they come out of prison. And I mean, yeah, I don't know what the solution is, but I do think that the way we treat incarcerated people is, I think that's something people will look back on this time in 100 years and just be like, wow, I can't believe. Like the way you look back at like slavery or something, the way we treat, because a lot of these people like mentally ill, you know, or just like, I don't know, so much trauma. At the same time, like they're just, some people just belong in prison. At the same time, they can't be out in the world. They really can't. Some of these people, you think like, oh, this system is so fucked up, but then there are people in prison. You're glad they're in. You're glad they're in prison, right? You meet them.
You
I
want to
heard
be
Richard Pryor
around
do a
them.
bit about that, but I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I just know it's like super fucked up. And but I don't know. I haven't put a lot of thought in like trying to come up with a plan.
There are two solutions. I will present them to you, and I already present the first one. So the first one is the AI machine. So now there are machines that can manipulate the human's brain and can adjust it as like you adjust your computer. The second solution is psychedelics. because it helps people bring things to the surface, and we just need to know how to use it the right way, and it in a way reset people brain and helps them get out of the things that traumatize them or inside them. It helps you to bring things to the surface, but we just need to find the safe way to use them and bringing things to the surface. So what do you think about these two solutions?
Like using AI to change people's brains and as one solution, and then psychedelics as another, as some kind of like therapy.
Mhm.
I mean, it seems like we're pretty far away from that, but like if that were ever a thing, I would love to
Which
see how
one?
that worked for people, like AI and like artificial intelligence to change people's brains. That's pretty far off, right? Like,
No, it's not.
we can do that right now.
Almost. There are.
Really?
Yes, I will send you some stuff. Maybe I will even link
Okay.
it down because do you know Lex Freeman or Free? I forget his name, but he's
I,
the smartest AI engineer,
mhm.
and he's almost there. Like he's doing some tests and some tries, and most of them are working. It's just, he's trying to be more careful before put it out there. But we are.
I would love to see how that stuff worked in practice and learn about it. I think people should research stuff like that. I think the real solution is just like, I don't just a lot of societal problems, like wealth inequality, stuff like that. I don't know. There's just the problem runs so much deeper than just someone's like natural brain chemistry. Like if you just grow up in a place where there's just horrible stuff happening around you all the time, like stuff you can, like if someone from like where I'm from would not be able to imagine, and people just see that every day, you're just way more likely to fall into a tragic life. So places like that just need to get better, and the likelihood that someone will be in a situation where they commit all those crimes will just go down a lot. And yeah, a lot of those communities are really like underserved. A lot of tax dollars don't go there. So yeah, I think that would help with that situation. I remember my public defender friend said that in some places, because there's like so many cops around all the time, you're just way more likely to have a record at a very early age because there's just cops everywhere.
Oh my
So like
God.
she was white and she grew up in like this nice suburb of Chicago, and she was on the volleyball team, and she hated this girl on her volleyball team, and when they had a fight one time, and she threw a bunch of change in her face, this girl's face, when she was like 17.
Oh my
And
God.
if she had done that at a place in a school where there was like cops there all the time, she would have had a record. And then
Mhm.
she would have been way more likely to like have this pattern of criminal behavior because there's cops around. But because she went to this all white school, it was just like she just got like she didn't go to practice one day or something. But if she, had been, grew up on the south side of Chicago, is way more likely, and been black, honestly, it would have been far more likely she would have had a record. And then from there, who knows? Maybe that affects a lot of different things. And it's the exact same behavior, but yeah, so much of it is just where you are.
That's cool. So now I want to talk about you being a teacher, and then we can dive into comedy and your story with comedy. So you taught English in South Korea, you said,
I did.
not North. You don't want to go to teach in the North.
Oh, I went to the DMZ. I looked into North Korea. I saw North Korean trees.
Only.
That's as close as I got, just the trees.
Oh my.
And then they were doing drills that day. I think North Korea every so often they like to piss off South Korea by putting troops too close or something. So usually you can go into like this middle place where you can see the house where they like negotiate. If North and South Korea need to talk in person, they go to this little place. So usually you can go like close to there. But on the day I went, they were like, no, you can just go to the wall because I don't know, some shit was happening. But they do that all the time. It's almost just, it's like part of it. But I was in South Korea. For sure.
Did you go
Much better.
why, like, I know how you, like, I can understand how you feel, but why did you want to go close to North Korea?
Oh, I mean, honestly, I was just, that's part of it is just history. There's a good history. Part of it was just something to do one day. I honestly, I didn't feel particularly inclined to go to the DMZ for whatever reason, but I knew so many people who went there, and a friend of mine wanted to go. We both had never done it. It was just like, you might as well go. I mean, we went on this, like, they took us through these tunnels that like North Korea and the Korean War, like, made like this huge tunnel, and they were trying to tunnel into South Korea, and for like, you know, to fuck up South Korea. And they took us down there to this like partially constructed tunnel. And so I guess you got to see some like cool historical shit. They took us around. It was funny. They said when they found the tunnel, North Korea quickly put like coal all over the walls, and we're like, oh no, it's a coal tunnel. We weren't trying to like break in here, but clearly it was for, you know, they were trying to dig a tunnel into South Korea to invade South Korea. But so they took us there. I mean, it was cool. It was just like a little historical thing. You learned about the Korean War, but
Oh my God.
that's all. It was just a tourist attraction to me. I mean, we were never in any real danger though.
Oh my God, it must be very stressful to live next to these motherfuckers, North Korea. And you see like how they are doing to their citizens. And these people are even digging now under the ground. I don't want to be the president of South Korea. You have to deal with all this stress.
It's very ironic too, because South Korea is like the safest country ever. You could just walk home blindfolded from the bars one night at like 3 a.m. Nothing will happen to you. Nothing will. It's crazy how safe it is. I remember girls I knew who grew up in the States, living in South Korea, were just marvel at how safe they felt all the time. It's absurd. And then, but at the same time, there's North Korea threatening to blow you up all the time. So it's just that it's very safe, but also more dangerous.
Yeah,
at the same time.
Yeah, it's scary. And it's also weird, like how two countries next to each other, and the one in the north are living the worst and most horrible life. There is also one podcast with one girl. She ran away from North Korea. Her name is Naomi. She was in the Joe Rogan podcast, in Lex podcast, in Dr. Jordan Peterson podcast. And her story is crazy. Like the first time she was introduced to sex is by seeing her mom getting raped. And just describing the life in North Korea. And it's just scary how her mind get programmed. Like imagine you get introduced to love and to the most pleasurable thing that humans can feel, because our body wants to scan and pass. So it's very good feeling, like Opa say, orgasms feels good. But and imagine you get introduced to it by seeing like your mom getting raped, and it's just crazy. And now you are telling me that the South is the safest place in the world, even more than America.
Yeah, isn't that absurd? It's yeah, it's so fucked up. And then it's just right over the border, so close to us. It's like, you know, it's so close. Like those countries aren't even that big. And it's just honestly, it's a few miles away, and relatively speaking, and all that stuff is going on. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? It's just so strange how that all happened. I think I I think they, but at the same time, there are plenty of South Koreans who hold out hope that the country will unify one day. And
That's
I knew
cool.
a Korean, one of my friends, actually a co-teacher of mine. She had relatives in North Korea, and there is love there for like, because they share a language, they share culture, all this food, and it's it's like, and Koreans have a lot of pride in their culture and stuff. They're a very like extremely hardworking, like prideful people. The Koreans love Korean culture. I mean, everyone loves their culture, but it's and the fact that they share all that with this country to the north so much, it's just a tragic situation. They should be the same country, honestly. And yeah, I wonder if that'll ever change. It's all very complicated and geopolitical.
Listen, you know that it's cool. You are very. I didn't know all this about you, but I told you yesterday you are very mysterious, and I knew I'm gonna feel it. So you said that you had a friend that she had family in North Korea, and you were almost there. You saw the trees, so I'm sure you have more knowledge than me. All what we hear about North Korea is that they don't have food, they eat from the trees, the government makes everyone there hungry and without food, so they don't think about anything else and they keep being starved. If you did crime against the president, or I don't know who the fuck he is, they kill until your 7 grandkids. Everyone get the punishment. Is that like just the media, or I don't know, we just hear this? Or is it
I mean,
exaggerated?
we don't know. I don't think anybody really knows everything that goes on in North Korea. It's such a secretive, fucked up country. They don't let people in, and then when they let people in, they take you to like two places, right? And they don't let people, like if you're like, I want to go here, they're like, no. And you're like, okay, I guess I'll just stay on this one. They have when you go to North Korea, you can see like one town that's for tourists, and I'm sure it's not similar to any other place in North Korea. It's just, and they make it look very nice, but like you can't go anywhere you want. There's nobody knows really. Even people in the United States and Russia, it's intelligence people, spies, people whose job it is to know everything. But people know so little about what goes on in North Korea. But I'm sure it's a lot of terrible situations. But nobody really knows.
Oh my God, would you go, why you didn't go to that city, the city for the tourists?
I just had no desire to. I
That's
mean,
really
you
cool.
always hear some like, I think I knew people that did go. I think I know someone that did like a marathon there, and I just had no desire to go. I wouldn't have done anything stupid, but you always hear about. I remember one American student. He was there and he thought it would be funny to steal like a banner from like a table or something, and then he stole like some North Korean thing from like a hotel lobby or something like that, and they put him in jail, like a North Korean jail, and he was there for like a really long time. And I don't have to get fucking. I wouldn't have done that, obviously, but I just had no desire to go in a place where someone could steal a banner and then be thrown into prison for like 2 years. And yeah.
Yeah, that's smart move. You don't want to be in place where you don't have your rights, or you you can't even hire a lawyer there or anything.
Right. Plus your countries hate each other. North Korea hates America. So it's not going to be a fun time if something happens diplomatically. But South Korea and America are great allies. So you do know if some shit goes down, it's not going to be this terrible process.
Man, it's freaking weird that we also don't know what's going on inside North Korea. Like, imagine tomorrow they find a weapon that can destroy everyone and we cannot beat it. So it's even like scary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's fucked up. I mean, but I'm sure, I'm sure we have lots of satellites like pointed at them all the time. I don't know. It is strange. It's very
Yeah,
strange. I think, but it's yeah, you never know if they're like on the verge of just collapsing, because you always hear about like famines and all this terrible shit. Like, is this is this at the end of it? Because it's like you don't really know how bad it is. Maybe it's so bad, like the government is like losing control, or maybe it's just the same. They get a lot of support from China, because if Korea ever unified, China doesn't want like an American military base right next to their border. So that's why China aids North Korea a lot. I think is to they like that situation better than a unified Korea that is like staunchly with America.
it's scary. And what's also more weird to me is that you might be born in North Korea, or you might be born from wealthy family in South Korea, and you just bob up from your mom, and you are here or you are there. And it's funny how opportunities works in this world.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Well, okay, God bless. Hopefully, we will be okay with North Korea. We're gonna pray. God will save us from them. And how about comedy? So you started comedy, and the pandemic happened. You went to North Korea. Are you like, did you start comedy and kept it, or you have your ups and downs?
Oh, you mean did I start comedy and like it felt good right away? Is what you're
Yeah.
asking, or did?
Are you breaking up and come back?
Oh, I see. No, by the third time I did it, I was hooked. But I remember when I started, I wasn't like, I'm gonna be a comedian, or I really want to be a working. It was just like a thing I did for fun. My friend, there was an open mic at this bar near me that for expats. A lot of it was just like Brits, Americans, Canadians, whatever. And I did it. It wasn't bad. It was my first mic. It was a set where like people were listening in a nice way, but weren't laughing. But it wasn't like a but, you know what I mean? So I saw it wasn't unpleasant. And then my second set, I bombed really hard. And then and it was like, like how you should when you just start. And then my third set unexpectedly went really, really well. Like, and people were just like, Jesus, that was your third time ever doing comedy. And then, so I started hot, and I had I think I did better than most people in their first year. And then when I moved to Chicago, I bombed for like a full year, or I did bad. So my style didn't work as well that I had in South Korea when I came. It was kind of too rehearsed and not spontaneous enough, not natural enough. And I bombed a lot like you're supposed to when you start. But I eventually got better. So that's how it went.
So so you started comedy in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So how is South Korea like? You can talk about anything you want. Is it like the US?
Yeah, I don't think anyone there ever felt afraid to say anything. Yeah, I know some countries where you probably have to be more conscious of what you say, right? Where you are, certainly, but no one ever felt afraid to say whatever they wanted to say.
So
whether it be about
the people there would accept anything you say.
right. I mean, but within reason, like this stuff, don't be like horrible or racist or nasty or misogynistic. Obviously, we would have like not allowed that person to come back if they were just said awful shit. But as far as just like criticizing the government, or talking about like sex, and one thing you probably shouldn't joke about too much is drugs, because South Korea is very good at keeping out drugs. And if you just went up there and you were like, oh, I was on acid yesterday, that might raise some eyebrows, because that it's it's a really, drugs are very, very, very criminal in South Korea in a way they aren't in like the United States or Canada. So if you had a funny drug story, you probably shouldn't say that at an open mic. Because someone might be interested. Like, why does this person have drugs? We need to find out where this person got the drugs, because South Korea is very good at keeping out drugs.
Okay, I think you answered my question, which is really stupid from them. Like, yeah, you just, and I just got it when, like, why would they get offended, or why would they not allow, especially psychedelics? So I got it. I'm not going there to do comedy. And what, like, what's the different, like, what's your comedy about mostly? Like, what are you trying to deliver message through your comedy, or you are trying just to get laugh?
I think both. I think I don't really have a set like agenda or any kind of thing that I'm trying to like adhere to. If it's just silly stuff that just makes fun of myself, for sure. If it's some kind of perspective on the world, I think that would be nice for people to listen to. I have a bit where I try to like I compare sex work to like a Broadway musical to kind of take the stigma away from like people who do sex work. So that's like a positive thing. But a lot of it's just like silly stuff. I don't need it to have like this underlying message, which I like really silly stuff too. It's just whatever works, honestly. I don't, if it's just anything, if it's just a funny story that happened to me. I do like playing with people's expectations, or getting right to the line of something that would be very shocking or even kind of wrong, but it's not quite there and it's just funny. You know what I mean? I think the things all comics like us to aspire to. But yeah, it can be a personal story. It can just be a one-liner, some observation,
How about
whatever.
what's your favorite comedy to listen to? Is it like because I try to fuck with humans' brain. Like, I try to make them think in different way, make them like question things. Why are we really doing this? Is this right or wrong? Or I do my best also to make people feel good about their life and how fucked up is Yemen. So they are like, oh, why am I complaining that uh, I don't have very hot water? Why am I complaining? People don't even have houses. So I like to listen to comedy like George Carlin, this kind of people also who question things, even if I don't agree with everything they say. So what I understood from you is that you just try to say silly things, put some fun there, and good night. Just let's have fun, let's enjoy. So do you listen to comedians like this?
Oh yeah, I mean, I love what George Carlin does. If I had bits that were like about questioning society and making people think, if I would love to have comedy like that. But for whatever reason, creatively, I can't just sit down and write like bits like that. It's just whatever works for me. So maybe once in a while I might have a bit like that, but it's just for whatever reason, my comedy, people laugh more when I just talk about something I'm angry about, sometimes some stupid thing in my life. And that's just what works for me. Like I feel like I have no power to be like, I'm gonna be like George Carlin and be political or talk about political correctness, because it's just not what makes what I do that makes people laugh. So I think I feel like I don't choose it. It's just what works. The way like an actor might be more suited to play like a certain kind of character, and it's like it's not their choice, it's just who they are. And
I like.
but I mean, I like George Carlin. I like all kinds of comedians.
I like the way you put things out there. You make sense. You choose good examples. You are fascinating. Noah. I really love talking to you as well. But how does your bets come or your ideas? Is it like from stories that happened to you in the past, or sometimes you are just working or you are drinking and then they are like, oh, that's funny, I need to write it down? Or do you sit down and
I
write them?
I kind of abnormal, I think. I like a lot of people write in notebooks a lot. I never write anything down. If I always just try it on, I write on stage or on Zoom. It's not a stage out, right? But like I just talk it out. And then eventually it'll, if it's a good bit, maybe one in every 50 things I attempt, one of them is like, it's a few laughs. I just keep saying it over and over again. And I'll try it like 10% different every time. I'll just try to play with the words. And then once in a while, I'll accidentally say something funny. And then I'm like, oh, that was a good tag. And then I'll say that again next time. And over like 50, 100, 200 times, it'll slowly get better. Sometimes it's just, I'll just randomly think of a bit and it's just perfect. Not perfect, but it's like it works right away. And then, but doesn't happen very often. A lot of times I just keep telling the same story over and over. And it just, once in a long while, one of those things just magically gets funnier. There's a bit I've been doing, like I first started doing it a year and a half ago. And it's just recently started being a lot funnier now. And it works. I never thought of it as like one of my best bits, but I hadn't done it in a long time. And I just was like, I need to talk about something different. And it's suddenly much better. And I don't even feel like I did that much to change it. But yeah, it's not very like precise. I think Seinfeld has like big notebooks where he like plays with the language and all these drafts of bits. I just write. I'm like way the opposite. I just do it on stage.
Some bets even go away. Start good,
That's true.
and then you lose them.
Yeah, I heard a comedian say they rot like fruit. Like there's a point where it's like really perfect, that it's going to do the best it'll ever do, and then they just, yeah, I have had bits like that where it's like the story just happened too long ago. It doesn't have that same energy. And some you're lucky enough that they just keep working.
So do you record your sets?
I need to do that more. I recorded one just the other night, and I noticed like 20 things I could do better. Yeah, I think for whatever reason, I never took that advice seriously. You should record all your sets, but like you should. I just realized, especially like, I think for me, especially like a video, it really hits home, like the ways you could be better on stage, just appear more confident or hit a certain thing in a better way, funnier way.
Yeah, and because like, do you try to memorize after your set what people laugh at? Because you told me that some things people would laugh and then you would say them again and change 10%. So I feel like it's hard to count on the human's memory, and you need to put things down by recording, by writing, so you can really control them.
Yeah, I think I have a pretty good memory for that kind of stuff, but I realized just recently, like, even though I can remember the words, like how you say them, like, oh, I realized I said something a certain way that I could have changed that tone. It would have been like funnier and cooler if I said it slightly differently. And I wouldn't have realized that if I hadn't recorded it.
Yeah, yeah. And so, do you do any workshop on Zoom with other comedians?
Once in a while. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. But most of the time when someone suggests a tag, for me, it never works. It's for whatever reason, it just has to come from me, I think. But I have, as far as tags go, whenever someone gives me a tag, it never lands.
Really?
I think people can give you, yeah, but that's just me. But people have given me good advice about just like how I am on stage, or like, maybe you need to like talk slower here, or give your bits more space to breathe. You're rushing through it, and that's all fair advice. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing a feedback, Mike, for sure.
But for example, how Do you expect, what do you expect from comedy?
What do you mean?
Like, for example, some people are doing comedy because like they want to be rich. Some people, they are doing comedy because they think that's their escape. They can be happy, they can have a comfortable job. Some people are doing comedy, I don't know, because they want to fuck or I don't know.
Oh, I mean, it's probably like a combination of all those things, right? I think I would just like to have a nice, stable life doing like creative job, and yeah, and just be able to make like a nice living doing it. That's all I want. Have a nice life and everything that would entail, whether it be, uh, getting married and support having a nice life, or just dating, and just having like lots of opportunities to travel and stuff. Yeah, I would say that's what I want. Just that.
And what's your expectations that it's going to happen? Do you have high expectations, or are you like, okay, it happened, it doesn't happen, fuck it, I'm happy anyways?
I feel good about where it's going. I mean, it's like I've been doing it close to 5 years, and I think at that point it is that's a good time to like really look at yourself as this am I getting better in a way that's real? And I think so. And I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm not going to stress out if I don't get this opportunity, or if I'm not put on that show or something, because I feel like I'm good at judging how I'm doing in an honest way, in a self-aware way. And I think I'm getting better. So as long as you can be honest with yourself as to whether or not you're getting better in real ways, yeah, I think it's going good. I won't stop.
And also with time, do you think that, okay, I did it for 5 years, I'm almost there, another 3, 4, 5 years, 2 years, or do you think it will just happen?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I think I've heard in lots of interviews, most comics say it takes like 10 years to become a real good comic. Maybe that's true. I do know that I'm a million times better than when I started. And I feel like I've shown good potential in a lot of areas, but I have no idea. I can't say to myself, oh, in 3 years it's going to be real good. I don't know. It might take. I do have a feeling like in 5 years I think, yeah, maybe in 5 years I'll really have something. But although I've gotten a lot better, I'm not close to like being able to make a real living or anything, but it's going in the right direction.
So in this 5 years, what you have made, are you like collecting them in files or in papers, or you just think you have good memory and you are just getting better
Yeah,
at your memory?
I know what's worked for me. I can remember the bits. And yeah, and I've gotten better at just like riffing and playing with the audience too. Stuff I never thought I would get good at that. That was always like a big weakness when I started. If like someone said something, I would have no ability to say something back to them, or banter, or just if something happened in the room, to be able to make a joke. Usually like that would completely derail me. If someone like dropped a glass or something, I would get flustered. But I've gotten better at that. Yeah, and I've learned like what material works for me. And yeah, I have a good feeling that the more I just like try to better myself as a person, just live life, meet people, read, process art, whatever, travel, like I'll just accumulate good stories. And I eventually the comedy will grow and get better as I do more things to improve myself.
That's really good. And do you try to have more comedians friends, or you don't care? Because I feel like comedy community is the best. I think you agree with me.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, comedy, you should. A lot of comedians are really wonderful people. And it also is absolutely necessary to like get ahead too. You want like good relationships with people. It's so for both those reasons, I think it's important to have lots of friends that do comedy and that don't do comedy too. I don't think you should just be hanging out with, but it's important to have good relationships with your peers.
How about you, your friends? Do you hang out mostly with comics or you don't?
I would say most of my close friends aren't comedians,
Mm.
but I do, as time goes on, I do find myself building better and better relationships with my fellow comics and becoming closer with a few of them. But yeah, I would say, oddly enough, my closer friends. So I have one friend who's a comic, but he does improv comedy, so it's a little different. He's not a stand-up. But my closest friends, for the most part, aren't comics.
And how do you like when you say your closest friends? It's for sure the people you keep close to you and you put them in your life by hanging out, or are you like, do you hang out? Do you go with them, or how do you? Why are they your close friends?
Oh, are there people I like grew up with who I still keep in contact with in Chicago? A few friends. One actually I knew in South Korea, and we both happened to move to Chicago. A couple are like old coworkers of mine, and yeah, and we still hang out sometimes. And yeah, I've been hanging out with more comics more and more in Chicago, which is good. But I don't really have like super close comedian friends, with the exception of maybe one person.
Yeah, that I look. I didn't know that there is even comedy, and it was surprising to find about comedy. And what's more surprising is how nice people, like, they would accept you, they would try to support you, and I think that's what you need from friends.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, yeah, just keep being a good, be nice to everybody and open, and just try to find people on your wavelength that'll accept you and support you, and just surround yourself with people that make you feel good. I think is a good rule. So I think, yeah, as the more I do comedy, the more I find people that are like that.
That's cool. That I had so much fun talking about humans with you. I like your view and how open-minded you are. Uh, I like, it was just nice to talk about also South Korea and North Korea, and that's why it's nice to travel. You add something to your value and you become more interesting. Yeah, and about comedy, I really wish you good luck. And I always, as I told you in the Zooms, um, just talking about myself, there are people that it just click. You just like them. You want to even laugh for them. You like what they are saying. And you are one of them. And I just enjoy your materials.
Thanks so much, Mawad. I feel the exact same way. I really hope to meet you one day. I think that would be great. And yeah, I'll see you on the Zoom. The
Yeah,
Zoom mics, I'm sure.
sure. I have mine today at The Matrix. You can find it on my Facebook page in my Facebook personal profile, or I don't know how to call it, in my Facebook wall. And today, The Matrix, 6 p.m. ECT.
For sure. Yeah, I think we're all grateful that you put those on so much.
No,
It gives people, with their schedules and stuff, another opportunity to do a mic. So thank you for that, man.
thank you for your time and thank you for being great. Thank you so much.
You as well.
Take care. Bye bye.